Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome everyone to the review of the much anticipated second season premiere of The Last of Us, which drops on HBO Sunday, April the 13th. Yeah, April the 13th. The first episode, entitled Future Days, sees a return to this world that uh, everybody has fell in love with from season one. And for fans of the video game, like myself, was highly anticipating to see how they were going to approach the second game, because the first season of The Last of Us covered the first game, the entire game, The Last of Us. Now we're going into The Last of Us Part 2, the second video game, obviously, of the series, and not as well received as the first video game. And for me personally, I really can't give an honest assessment of that game because I didn't finish it. I was bored by it. To be honest with you, I just could not get back to playing it. I did a couple. I own it, but I tried to go back to play it a month or so ago, in anticipation for the season, but I just couldn't finish it. Still got the game. As a matter of fact, uh, this morning before the episode dropped, I said, let me play a little bit more of it, and I still couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. But this morning, I had a different approach and reason why I didn't really get into it. I wanted to go into this season fresh, not knowing everything. See, last season, I knew everything. But what made last season so special was the fact that, yes, they did stay real close to the source material. They didn't deviate a lot. They just added some pieces here and there to flush out stories and things of that nature. But for the most part, it was sticking to the game, and done beautifully. I decided, for my own personal preference, I wanted to go in kind of fresh, even though I believe I got halfway through The Last of Us Part 2. So I know enough about enough, and I was spoiled, with knowing the actual ending of the game. But I am going into this fresh. And so we enter into this season, and just to kind of recap, in case you forgot what took place last season, at the end of last season, we saw Joel and Ellie arrive to the Fireflies with Marlene, and Joel learned that the only way for them to harvest the cure was to kill Ellie. And he wasn't having that. He had grown to love Ellie as a daughter, the daughter that he lost, and he sees his daughter in Ellie. So he wasn't going to sit by and let another daughter of his be murdered. And so he made the decision to choose Ellie over the life of everybody on planet Earth. Selfish? Yes. And understandable? Yes. Because you have to ask yourself the question, what would you do in that situation? That is a real Sophie's choice there. I mean, what would you do? And he chose Ellie. And so we pick up here in season 2. Season 1 left off with Ellie forcing Joel to swear that the lie he told was the truth. And he swore it was the truth. And so we pick up right there, and then we flash forward 5 years. But Ellie knew. Ellie knows that something don't smell right with that story. Something just don't add up. The math ain't mathing. And she knows that he lied. And what makes matters worse, she knows why he did it. And this is my own little psycho analysis of the situation. I think she just in her own mind is like, I know why he did it, but why did he do it? I'm not that important. That's a lot of weight to put on Ellie. And so far in this first episode, we see the aftermath of that decision. And throughout this season, we're going to see an even bigger aftermath from that decision at the end of season one, with the addition of the character of Abby, who is the antagonist of this season. And uh, going by the game, yes, this is going to be a fun ride to go on. Uh, in addition, I believe that the Catherine O'Hara character is new for the show. I don't recall that character being on the game. But regardless, I don't care because Catherine O'Hara is a national treasure. She she is amazing. I just saw her in something. I was just watching the studio, that show with Seth Rogen on Apple TV Plus, and she's on there. And she has been a comedic actress throughout her whole career, but she has dipped into drama and stuff like that throughout her long successful career. And this is a very dramatic role, but she's funny with it as well. This was perfect casting for that role. I loved her in this role. I loved her as the psychiatrist that Joel is talking to on the slick. But there's also some backstory there. There's some tension there with Joel being the person that killed her husband. But it wasn't that he just killed her. I believe he was infected. They didn't say it, but she made the reference that he had no choice but to do it, and so on and so forth. So with all that said, she expressed this to Joel. She just couldn't take it no more. The fact that he's sitting in their house and talking to her, and she's trying to help him. So he's lying, and she told him that you're lying to me. I know you're lying. You're leaving something out of the story, because the whole point of Joel going there, he doesn't understand why Ellie is treating him the way that she is. And the reason is because deep down she knows he's lying. Now, we haven't got confirmation in the show yet that he confessed it, that he told her the actual truth, what went down with the Fireflies at that hospital. But she knows. She knows. And it's eating her up from the inside out. So she just is not speaking to him. Plus, she's a 19-year-old girl. Being a father of two 19-year-old girls at separate times in a few years back, that's just normal. It's normal. And I believe that Catherine O'Hara's character says that at one point, but she does tell him that you're leaving something out of the story, to whereas she doesn't want to speak to you. She doesn't want to associate herself with you. And in that, she unleashes. She tells Joel that, I hate you. I hate you for what you did. You killed my husband. Today's my birthday, and this is the first birthday I'm celebrating without my husband. And it's like, my God, we couldn't ease into this season. This was the first episode. Y'all already coming with this tension, man. I mean, they are not holding back here. Like I said, this is a addition to the show. I don't think this was in the game unless it's at the other, the back half of the game that I didn't play. But this is an addition, and I believe it's a great addition if it's the case. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey returning as Joel and Ellie. I mean, they picked up where they left off. It's no, there's no need to question, oh, did they lose a little something here or whatever? No, they are these characters. Pedro Pascal's case, he adds something more, because this isn't the down, ready to almost commit suicide Joel, the just downright brutal killer that Joel is in season one. This is a more subdued, subtle Joel, a Joel that has settled down, man. I mean, he's in Jackson with his brother and his sister-in-law and his nephew. He's playing with his nephew and everything. This isn't the same Joel from season one yet. It is, we get flashes of it when he's sitting there talking to the psychiatrist, and he has that look, on his face when she's confronting him about what he had done and telling him that he lied and so on and so forth, and asking him what he has done, to Ellie, and he has that scowl, that brooding look that we know and love from season one. I mean, Pedro Pascal is phenomenal in this role, man. I hate the fact that I doubted it when they first announced it years back that he was going to play Joel. I was really, honestly, I was like, nah, I don't know. And I like Pedro Pascal at that point. I just didn't see him as Joel. Man, was I wrong. Now I can't see nobody else in this role. I don't care if you dig up Marlon Brando. It's this is Pedro Pascal's role. He owns it. Bella Ramsey owns it. Another one that I kind of scratched my head when they announced this casting. I was like, huh? But owns it. Owns it. I am just loving their dynamic, their chemistry, their stand even when they're mad at each other, when they're not talking to each other, there's still a level of chemistry and love and respect between the two characters that you can't help but be entrenched in it, in the story and where it's going, where are we gonna end up here. And I'm excited for the rest of the season. Didn't get much of Abby in this episode, maybe what, two scenes, and it wasn't enough to give a clear you know assessment of, but we'll see. I like Caitlin Devers as Abby. I like her as an actress. She's phenomenal in that horror film that came out a couple of years ago where there was no dialogue. There was no, I was super impressed in that because we're talking about a horror film that you had to tell a story without dialogue, and it was just her. She was the only character in the movie. There were a couple others, but they were just passing by. But she had to hold the film down, and she held it down. And when they cast her, I was like, yeah, you can cast her anything, and I'm all in because I was super, super impressed. Isabella Marcet as Dana, that's going to be super interesting. So far, love the chemistry between her and Bella Ramsey on screen. Uh, like I said, going by the game, there's a lot to flush out in that character as well. So to see her and Ellie have this dynamic now, oh my God, this is gonna be this game. Look where my head at. This TV show is setting us up for some heartbreak here. Part two of The Last of Us is a heartbreaking game. It is not going to be for the faint of heart. I really don't know if they're going to, stretch it out. It appears that they are because they just announced last week before this season dropped that season 2 dropped, but season 3 has been greenlit. So we're going to get a season 3, and there is no Last of Us Part 3 video game. So I'm assuming that they're going to stretch out this game. So we'll see. I have a theory, and I kind of picked up on that from the first episode, what they're going to do. And I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to spoil anything. But I see what they're doing here. But it's all good. So far, I am back in it. This episode did a good job of putting us back in this world. And the addition of these infected and the clickers now showing some intelligence is even scarier. And so now there's an even bigger threat on top of the threat of the human beings who are hunting Joel. And so it's a lot that is set up for this season, for an exciting season of The Last of Us on HBO and Max. Sunday nights are going to be popping for the next month or so. I would love to know, what do you think of The Last of Us season 2 episode 1? Are you back in the fold? Are you excited to see what's happening next? What's next for Joel? What's next for Ellie? What's next for the town of Jackson, Wyoming, let me know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am kind of beating them around in my head. Like, am I going to do week to week, episode to episode reviews of The Last of Us? I'm leaning towards no, because I haven't. I did in the past. Like for the first season, I did. And this is the only reason I'm bringing this up, because for season 1, every week, every episode, I did a review. I don't know if I'm going to do a review every episode, but at the same time, if I'm enjoying it, I'm going to want to talk about it. And I love this show. And so I want to talk about it while it's fresh in my mind. So be on the lookout in the event that, I dive into it. And I'm saying this now because next week, next Sunday, next episode 2, it drops at the same time WrestleMania is going to be on. And if you know me, I'm a wrestling fan. I have a show here on the KB Radio Network, Faces and Heels, where we preview PLEs for WWE and do a review and a recap show for it. So I'm probably not going to do it next week. I'll probably be watching the second episode later that night after WrestleMania goes off. And it's Easter Sunday on top of that as well. So it's a lot going on. And so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I want to do it week to week, but I don't want to commit to it. So just put it in pencil that we'll be back week to week after next week. I'm going to try. But if that doesn't work out, have no fear. When season 2 wraps up, we will definitely do a full season recap. But in the meantime, we will have a number of reviews and shows here on the KB Radio Network that you can enjoy. I just mentioned Faces and Heels. We also have Movie Goodness, where we talk about topics and film reviews and others. So have no fear. I'll be around. I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.